All right, we are live from our new studio, Barstool Units, episode 48. I'm Coach Doug's. With me, as always, the venerable Frank the Tank Fleming. Frank, how you doing?
Well, I'm still in the same studio. You actually are now actually where you wanted to be. You want to get a two-bedroom, so you're just right across the courtyard.
Yep, yep. It's unfortunate that you're not on the courtyard side, because otherwise we'd have a couple soup cans and a string for sure.
Huh. Yeah, but if I was facing the courtyard, I wouldn't see the light rail going by.
Oh yeah, the lovely light rail going by. That is. I will miss that going by every 15 to 20 minutes all throughout the night.
Plus, I spy with my little eyes here a McDonald's drive-in.
You know what, Frank? You're selling me on it. I might need to move back into the other building just so I can get that view.
I mean, I mean, beautiful Belleville.
Beautiful Belleville. Frank, something I've noticed. It looks like you have a new pair of glasses.
No, these are a pair of glasses I finally repaired.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So is that your backup pair now?
This is my main pair. My backup pair is the pair I've been wearing. They're all beat to fucking hell. These are beat to hell. I got other glasses beat to fucking hell. I got to get to an ophthalmologist, get an eye
Op-
exam.
yeah, optometrist. Yeah.
Maybe I'll consider LASIK, but right now I need to get new glasses. New year, new glasses. So in the next few weeks, I'm gonna go somewhere. I was hoping that someone would recommend a good eye doctor for me, but it looks like I'm just going to go to America Best or Vision Works again.
Yeah, they're all the same, right? They all have that annoying puff of air that goes in the eye, and yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just looking for something a little more quality.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, if there are any Belleville optometrists watching the units right now, let us know. I'm sure there's some. But yeah, so
Belleville, Bloomfield, the whole.
Frank, I was being sarcastic, but but yeah, if there are any legitimate optometrists in the area, let us know. Frank, I think once we do have your new prescription, we'll have to get you like a legit pair of Rec Specs. I'm not sure if that's the name brand of them or not, but you know what I'm talking about, like the
Well,
recreational.
I got the last one at Vision Works. I mean, especially when I watch the Nets or the Devils or the Nets.
And
And
basically
Dolphins.
any sports team you follow.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. I mean, it's tough to find. I'm sure it would be tough to find a sponsor of glasses for you because you would absolutely break every single pair, and it's probably not best for their brand that you'll break them so easily.
Well, which has me absolutely considering LASIK, so I
Yeah.
won't have to worry about that shit anymore.
Now is that a serious consideration for you?
Well, depends. It depends. Anyone's got a good LASIK. I'm leery because I don't really like things touch my eyeball.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have contacts.
Yeah. I have contacts, but I rarely wear them. I use my contacts. I use my prescription money on the contact lenses, and then I mean these frames I've had for years. They cost $20. Get them from China. Buy them on the internet, and you just put in your prescription. I'm telling you, Frank, you could buy 20 pair of glasses and not have an issue.
Well,
Uh,
I might consider that. I might buy like one pair at wherever I go, and then get like some China glasses.
yeah, the but yeah, LASIK surgery. I mean, I probably could get through it, but going back to like the puff of air, that bothers me. Like
It
that,
bothers me.
that puts tears in my eyes. That puff of air. So if that bothers me, the idea of someone holding open I mean, I know like a little mechanism does it, but the idea of my eyelid being held open as a laser goes across it.
Well, that's like a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Which is
know,
great.
basically, that sort of like how I have to watch. If anyone ever wants me to watch like the shows that are on TV these days, you might have to get that mechanism.
I watching the playoffs, and we'll get to playoffs in a second here. Watching the playoffs has made me realize how awful TV has gotten. I don't watch TV, but watching the playoffs in the in the cave in Hoboken with everybody, especially when there's only one game on.
There's not a I don't think there's a single good show on network TV. I
It
mean, some of those shows just even the commercials are just painful. I mean, the cleaning lady. Uh,
and what is I missed this commercial. You described to me, but explain what the commercial for the cleaning lady was.
it looks like perhaps an undocumented uh, immigrant who's Mexican, working at a hospital cleaning as a cleaning lady, who's got like medical knowledge and helps save a patient's life and helps disarm a bomb or something like that. She's got a lot of special skills.
She's a bomb expert too.
Well, yeah. Well, she's a jack of all trades, but she has to work as a cleaning lady because she can't find any work elsewhere.
Gotcha. Do you think they pitched that idea when there wasn't a labor shortage?
Perhaps.
do you think they pitched that idea before nurses were in such high demand?
Perhaps.
Can you imagine you pitched this show 2 years ago? You're like, listen, I'm telling you, people are going to fall in love with this lady. She's overqualified for all these jobs, but nobody will give her a chance. And then the pandemic hits. There's a labor shortage. We need nurses. We need hospital staff. And then
all you have to do is watch the Joe Buck montage of just shows he's promo during the World Series, just to know how awful Fox is.
It's bad. Well, and of course, there's I think they even have like Chicago Night on one of the channels where it's like
NBC has Chicago Fire, Chicago Rescue, Chicago Police. CBS has FBI Night, FBI International, FBI something, FBI. They have dozens of remake shows. We got the Fresh Prince remake coming out.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll be just on Peacock or not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's made for me, so I'm not gonna be upset. It would be like getting mad at a kids movie. Like if you're like, this kids movie like is silly. I don't think it's made for me. So I'm like, who am I to say whether it'll be good or whether it looks good or bad? But if they were doing a reboot or a spinoff or anything like that, I would love to see the other way around. I would love to see a show where like Carlton has to go from Bel Air to the west side of Philadelphia. And like how I would love to see that, and just like how would he assimilate to that culture and that difference? If they were redoing a Fresh Prince of Bel Air, I would like to see that.
Well, they're out of ideas, so they're just gonna reboot everything.
Yeah.
I hear they're even now considering a reboot of Gilligan's Island, where Gilligan actually did it on purpose, and his plan is and he's a serial killer, and every week he wrecks another crew to murder.
So it's like if Dexter was a riverboat casino captain.
Yeah.
I just pictured Dexter with like a little silly captain's hat.
Coming soon. They were more than a bunch. They were a family, but they were a dysfunctional family.
It's just the shows are bad because the commercials and the previews that are supposed to encourage you to see them are so bad. You're like, if this is what it's supposed to be, get me excited about watching it, how bad is the rest of the show?
What was that? So American Auto or something like that? It just looks tedious.
I think it's trying to be like an Office, Parks and Rec, but like with the auto industry.
It's an Office, Parks and Rec superstore, like hybrid.
The Superstore, the Superstore creator is the one who made
it. And the jokes on the commercial at least fell flat.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was flatter was the joke on the Saturday Night Live promo this week.
The only reason I know who that guy is, so I don't know I didn't know who the host was. She had her first name was Ariana, I think, but I can't remember what her last name was. And then I think Bridges was the musical guest. I'm not too familiar with him, but the SNL featured person. The only reason I know him is because he went after Shane Gillis so hard because him and Shane Gillis were in the same hired group. Um, he's just not funny. He's not funny at all. It's the most lowbrow humor. Is oh what sports? I don't know sports. Do you know sports? Oh no, and they're playing that promo during a sports game. People are watching football, and the joke, like on the biggest comedy show ever, is that we don't know sports. How silly is that? It's like if that's the best you got, again, go same thing with the commercials for the shows. If that's the promo, I am not interested in watching that show.
I mean, when's the last time you actually watched that in life? I know. For me, it's been at least 25 years.
It would have to be when Sudeikis and Kristen Wiig were on there. Uh, yeah, Sudeikis and Kristen Wiig and Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. They had some great years. But I think after that class left, I think when Kristen Wiig and Sudeikis left, I think that was probably the last time that I actually was interested in watching.
And you always had the good Will Ferrell Jeopardy, Celebrity Jeopardy bits.
Oh yeah, I don't even think they would try those jokes today, even though they
And, no, and every now and then you see a sketch gets online,
Mhm.
and someone put the sketch online of like an Elmo sketch, Elmo versus Rocco, that was just tedious.
I I I don't think I I don't know I don't know what to do. Saturday Night Live, it's been the comedy show, this comedy skit show for 40 years now. But
They
you clear
they
house?
are they are so afraid of offending people that they actually forgot that there's actually have to be funny.
Yeah, and I don't even think they're actively saying, "Hey, let's not make a joke that offends people." I just don't think they have. And again, it's not easy either. So I don't want to just spend a lot of time shitting on comedians who are trying to make people laugh. It's not easy, especially week in and week out. But they're supposed to be the top of the top. So any criticism they get is probably fair and warranted. But anyway, that is when we're watching playoffs. Those are the commercials. It makes me glad that I don't have TV, that I don't watch. But the playoffs, what a super wild card weekend.
More like super mild weekend.
I feel like were there any? Obviously, there were bets that we did not win. We had the parlays, the sweep. I lost.
Pat Fryer moved. Why couldn't you bet him 7 more fucking yards? Oh, the Steelers. Fuck the Steelers.
7 more yards. What? It was a $25 parlay for like $700.
Yeah.
See, that's wild. I wouldn't even know what to do with that as far as the parlay goes. If it's that wild,
The other six legs. The other 6 legs hit. I had Kelsey Hill touchdowns. I had Mahomes the over 2.5 touchdowns. I had Mahomes like 100, like 280 yards.
the
I
over, I
had
think.
Chiefs. I had the over. And the only one that doesn't fucking hit is Pat Fireman
Yeah,
over 31.5 yards.
it's unfortunate. I mean, those are the parlays, right? Those are the parlays. That well, the sweep didn't happen. I think I saw a couple people tweeted out that the sweep happened where there was a parlay special. You bet at least $10 on all 6 games for parlays for one parlay, and if it hit, the sports book gave out an extra $1,000 on top of what is probably a $10 bet to make like 500. Some
Well,
people,
Tommy Smokes had a sweep of sorts.
yeah, except it was the opposite. He lost every single game. And it's something that we've talked about a few times, but I mean, that was kind of the reason I thought about it today. I think the sports book should have a parlay bet where if you make, 4 legs on a parlay, if they all lose, you win something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a portion of your money back. I don't know if it's a certain dollar or a certain percentage, whether it's maybe you're entered into a loser's pool or something, like maybe by,
I like the losers pool. I like
maybe,
that.
from that, maybe something happens. I don't know. I'm working with McCarthy. Said he was going to work on it for me and like give me some numbers, and hopefully we can make something up out of that because I think that would be cool. The purpose of that being once the first leg, if for instance, I make parlays all the time. If it's a 4-leg parlay and one leg loses or it dies immediately, you're just kind of sitting there like, all right, well, that's a ruined parlay.
Yeah, well, I knew that feeling last night watching the Cardinals and Rams, and when I saw how the Cardinals came out their first 2 drives, where
Yeah,
basically they got negative yards in their first 2 drives, and the Rams basically are just marching down the field. I said, yeah,
yeah,
this game's over. And I said it right in the first quarter. This game's over. When it was 7-0 in the first quarter, and the Cardinals had their third straight 3-and-out, and the Rams were crossing midfield. I said, this game's over. The
yeah.
Rams just the Cardinals just are not going to win this game. And Kyler Murray had one of the worst playoff game performances I've ever seen.
It was bad. It was bad, especially that. I don't obviously his pass out of the end zone that was intercepted for a touchdown. Obviously, you don't want that to happen, but I think it may have ended up for the best. I think that might have been not such a bad thing to happen. Would you rather? Would you rather that happen where he throws it out of the end zone, you get the other team gets a touchdown, and you get the ball back, or would you rather take the safety?
I'd rather take the safety. You
Yeah,
know, yeah, get the safety. You could flip field position, and if your defense does the job, you're only down 16-0, not 21-0.
yeah. I guess it depends on if your defense is doing well, which the Cardinals were not.
The Cardinals didn't do anything well yesterday. I mean, it looked like it really looked like they like Cliff Kingsbury made the playbook with France. I mean, this is a team that was 7-0, was 10-2, ended the season on a down note, backed into the playoffs, and boy, that 7-0 is such a memory now. I mean,
Yeah,
if they went 4-3 in that stretch, they may not even made the playoffs. They did that. This is a team that ended won one of the last 5 games.
yeah,
They weren't playing well at the end of the season. Did not play well in the playoffs. And backed into the playoffs and backed out of the playoffs.
yeah. And I think a couple people pointed out if you looked at who they played, they had a great record. Obviously, started off the season 7-0, but who did they beat? At the end of the season,
Well, they did go into Los Angeles and beat the Rams.
yeah, they also went into Jacksonville and had to come back at halftime. So, well, so Super Wild Card Weekend. Like I said, I'm gonna work. I don't think anything's gonna come of it soon or that soon. But I'm working with McCarthy. Hopefully, we can get some kind of cool parlay deal going on where if your parlay completely loses with no winning legs, then something will happen. We'll do something. We'll figure out something. I think that'll be cool. But it won't happen anytime soon because I am headed to Oklahoma tomorrow, actually in probably about 6 or 7 hours to go duck hunt.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
I'm excited for it. Going duck hunting with Sydney Wells, Barstool Outdoors. Um, I've been in New Jersey for a few weeks, but I still have my Florida wardrobe. So as soon as I get off the plane, we're headed to Bass Pro Shop. I'm going to get some long johns, some jackets, some hunting gear, and then yeah, I'm gonna be shooting some ducks for a couple days. I'm pretty excited about it.
Now, is the dog going to be out there going?
I don't think he'll be laughing, but I think I imagine we'll have a few dogs out there to go fetch the birds.
We had that. I always liked that duck hunt game on the original NES.
Yeah,
The best part about it was the dog. I mean,
yeah,
if you got if you shot the ducks, the dog would hold the ducks up like this in both hands, and then if you kept missing it, then he'd laugh at you.
yeah.
And of course, I'd shoot the dog.
You would aim and fire the dog. The dog would never get hit.
Of course not, because they miss.
Of course. Well,
But then,
that's why the dog was laughing.
yeah, they continue to laugh.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited for it, but a lot of silly stuff has happened this past week on Twitter. We'll start off with the Warriors owner. So
You mean the limited? You mean the limited partner
the
who
limited,
doesn't know how to shut up?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Apparently, I mean, from his follow up statement, that seemed to be like a weekly podcast he did or something. But for those that don't know, the a minority owner in the Warriors, I think he owns like 10% of the team, was being interviewed, and they asked him about the Uyghur
What's this guy's name exactly?
Kapathra or something like that. Chamatha, CH. It's like CHAMATHA, something like that.
Shamath Palhapidia.
Yeah.
Shamath Palhapidia.
I think his family's originally from Sri Lanka. They moved to Canada, and now I believe he's an American citizen now. But yeah, basically,
Of course, he's probably got a good education, and he was one of the original investors in. He's venture capitalist, and
Mhm.
he was one of the original investors in Facebook. So he made billions off of that.
Yeah, and he's the CEO of a company called Social Capital. I remember the reason if his name sounds familiar, he actually donated some money to the Barstool Fund when the whole AMC stock thing was happening. But of course, when the AMC stock thing was happening, he was talking about how the system was corrupt. It was forcing losses on the everyday investor, and it seemed like he was a good guy. It seemed like he was on the people's side. Turns out he's on the People's Republic side.
I remember the Houston Rockets general manager.
Mm-hmm.
That was the end of his career.
Yeah.
LeBron James ripped him.
Yeah. So basically, the guy was asked about concentration camps in China, where they are. I can't remember how many people are in the camps, but basically there are re-education camps in China for the Uyghur population, which is a certain demographic of like Muslims in China, and he basically said he literally said he does not care.
The People's Republic of China is one of the worst human rights violators in the world. Of course, they're on the Human Rights Council on the United Nations.
Yeah, of course they are. But yeah, so that was
that's like putting the fox on the council for chicken safety.
Exactly. And and the guy asked him, he goes, are you saying you personally don't care? And there is a difference. And Chief wrote a good blog about it. There's a difference between saying nobody cares in the sense that it's not on anybody's radar, or they don't know about it, or they don't know what to do about it. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. This guy pretty much straight up said, he even listed, he said, he goes, of the things I care about, this is below my line. So it wasn't even a matter of, do I care that it's a human rights violation? He said, it's not something that I even care about. Yeah.
He could have just said simply, I don't know much about it, but it looks unfortunate. And that would have been tepid and non-headline causing.
Yeah. And so, of course, it went viral on Twitter and everything. And the Warriors PR, the Warriors public relations tweeted out saying that because the guy has in his bio that he's a Warriors owner. He's an owner of Warriors, the NBA team. The team came out and said he is a limited investor with no day-to-day operations. And all right, that's basically they're saying, hey, he owns part of the team, but he's not part of the team.
Yeah.
But of course, not to be outdone, Martin Luther King Jr.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Darren Rovell is the great collector, holding all the history in his hands. Darren Rovell marches on.
So not to be outdone, Monday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Darren Rovell decided it would be a great time, like always, to showcase his collection. And so he decided to talk about the historical pieces of collector's items he has that are signed by Martin Luther King Jr.
I couldn't believe the tweet. I didn't think it was real. It was real. I mean,
it was one of those where you're like, oh, that's a funny parody, and it's so ridiculous. Parody pops in your mind first before.
Well, we met him in Chicago at the card show, and
we briefly
this guy put a table out there to put things on sale, but they weren't on sale. The prices were so ridiculous. Yeah. They were just there to show off what he had.
Yes. So the Chicago convention that we went to in July, it's the same thing as, if you're going to any kind of, I don't even know what you call them, swap sales or whatever, you pay money to have a table at a big event so that you can sell stuff from it. Unless somebody gave him the table, he paid money to set up his collection in order to show it off to people passing by. That's the guy.
I mean, this guy was selling video games and a floppy disk autographed by Bill Gates from 1984.
Yeah, a mouse. There was a Bill Gates mouse that was autographed. Just silly stuff. And people were asking what the prices were. And he goes, oh, that's $75,000. Anybody walking through there is going to have.
There's nobody that's going to pay that price. He just put it out there so he could show what he had.
Yeah, and it was so that's who we're talking about. But he was tweeting out that he had these collector's items that were, I think one of them was a jail log from I want to say Mississippi, maybe.
But he had. Rosa Parks NAACP card autograph.
Yeah. And so he was tweeting out that he had these collector's items, and he said that he wanted to show them off in the Smithsonian, but the Smithsonian said, we don't do that. You would have to actually donate the item. And he didn't want to sell it. Rightfully so. Listen, it's his property. He purchased it. If he wants to hold on to it, he doesn't have to give it away or anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure they have better Rosa Parks memorabilia at the Smithsonian. There actually is an African American experience
Mm,
Smithsonian building now.
yeah.
So, you know what
But
I find curious is
uh,
the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis. If I'm not mistaken, they converted the Lorraine Hotel where uh, MLK was assassinated, made at the Civil Rights Museum.
yeah,
I would think that would be better off like in a nearby building that's fresh and you could
yeah,
have displays on there. It's just a little weird that you're walking on where the assassination happened, and I understand memorializing the location, but
yeah,
a little morbid to me to make that the museum.
yeah. It would kind of be like if they turned like a concentration camp into a museum. Like,
Well,
no,
they have done that. They
I
have
know,
done that,
yes,
but
and that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, you're like, it's that sense of I understand why it's here, but
yeah,
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
I
so
mean,
well,
I guess that someone thought that was a good idea.
yeah.
I mean, a civil rights museum can stand on its own two legs elsewhere.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. But Rovell, my favorite part about this is is that people were calling him racist um, because he was, and his response was, "I can't be racist. I own all of these black items," and it's like that.
That is such a cringe-worthy, just
Well,
cringe.
that's not how that works. That's not how that works, Rovell. But then he went on there was Twitter Spaces have become a thing now, and I will say this: Twitter Spaces dropped off for the longest time until the number one recruit was pulled from Florida State by Deion Sanders. That FSU Twitter Space, I think revitalized Twitter Spaces. Um, but he got on a Miami Hurricanes Twitter Space basically to tell the world he's not racist, and it's just it's all these people. It's like Danny Boy Kane, or that like those kind of guys are like they want to talk about Miami athletics, and here's Darren Rovell talking about I'm not racist.
Well, Darren Rovell's favorite topic is Darren Rovell.
Yeah, so but yeah, so that was I think that was this week on Twitter. It was it was a wild week in football. It was a wild week on Twitter, but we've got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm headed to Oklahoma. Frank, we're doing Tanks Cooks, where you're doing some hot dog reviews around Belleville. Doing a lot of stuff. We've got the blog coming out soon.
Yep, the blog for the hockey should be coming out Thursday.
Nice.
I'm working on it. The video is complete. I've seen it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. I've been sneaking out some of the dash cam videos.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So looking forward to the next road trip. So when that comes up,
Yep. And we've got some new flags for the car.
yeah, I just got to know that next time we go on the highway, to probably to pull down the mast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to speak.
Exactly. Yeah. The flags can handle your driving. Driving on the highway is a bit different.
I mean, well, I looked over. I saw you were hitting 80.
Well, I mean, you don't have to say that on now. That's record. Yeah, you don't have to tell the world I was doing 80. I mean, there was no snow, there was no ice, there was I was going with the flow of traffic.
Yes, you are. So and when you're going 80, some motherfucker went zooming past you.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I'm glad you brought that up, and that's why you go 80, because if you were going 40, he would have ran you over.
I just don't like driving fast. I mean, what can I say?
I'm not saying
I
I'm not
I,
saying
I, I, I drive like a 98-year-old woman.
a safe 98-year-old woman.
Yeah. I wait extra time until I make sure everyone clears traffic, even though people are honking at me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Everything's cleared except for the line of cars behind you waiting to merge onto the highway.
Yeah, well, I got to make sure there's no one's gonna cut me off.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, well, that's speaking of which, that was what was I'm we got everything. I'm good for Oklahoma. Um, there was a little bit of a scare that maybe I didn't have the right license or I hadn't done the right training, and but I talked to Sydney about it tonight. We're good to go. Being from Florida, I thought we were just going to show up and I was going to shoot some ducks. You know what I mean? Like if you go hunting in Florida, I don't know if it's the legal thing to do, but you pretty much just, one of your buddies has 20 acres.
Well, the Florida
Shoot whatever's on
it seems like this. Florida seems like this. Was somebody hurt? Nope. Okay. Okay
your-
then.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we had to make sure that I had everything square for Oklahoma because I told her, I said, I told Sydney, I'm like, even though I'm from Florida, um, we are going to go out hunting and everything. If I'm going to do something illegal, I'm going to make sure it's not going to be filmed and blogged about and put on the internet. That tends to be something that people from Florida do. I don't know why, but whenever they're doing some illegal activity, they like to record it and put it on the internet. I'm not one of those people. Not that I do anything illegal at all ever, but if I were to do it, you would never know about it.
Well, of course, one of the things we experienced during the trip up to state New York was I had to pump gas.
Yep.
I don't like pumping gas. I like when they have the station guy does it.
I will say it is nice, especially in the cold weather, to not have to get out of your car, like just to give them a credit card or debit card and say fill it up. That is nice until you're in a hurry and you want to just pull over and get gas real quick, and there's one attendant for 12 pumps.
Well, there's this labor shortage.
Hey, maybe the cleaning lady can be a gas station attendant as well.
I mean, the BNN excuses. Why aren't the shelves full? Labor shortage. Why are the lines long? Labor shortage.
It's wild, Frank. But we're coming out of it, right? We're coming out of it. It'll be back to normal soon. Frank, this has been the longest 2 weeks of my life, but we've got a lot of stuff planned. So, Frank, let's to finish it off here. I have to make my bets before I go to Oklahoma tomorrow. I have to make my bets for this weekend because I don't think I'm going to get back until late Saturday night. Who are you taking this weekend?
Well, I think the Bengals could win that game. I like the Titans, but I think that game is going to be real close.
Yeah,
Uh, I think the Bills are going to absolutely go into Arrowhead and win that game.
yeah,
I even though the Chiefs mauled the Steelers didn't belong in the playoffs. Steelers
no,
weren't.
no.
Ben Roethlisberger was a shell of his former self this year.
It was sad. We talked about it. It was kind of like what was it? Joe Lewis that had to come out of retirement,
Joe Louis had to come out of retirement to Fox after the IRS fucked him over.
which they did.
Willie Mays fell on his face in the 1973 World Series.
Yeah, it was one of those things where
And
he was way, way, way past his prime, and it was sad to watch it be like he couldn't throw a ball 20 yards down the field.
I mean, all his passes were like lobs. It was like floating.
They were lobs down the field down the sideline, and they weren't even he wasn't even putting him where his player could catch him. It was
And they were talking about Najee Harris has not fumbled all season, and then wouldn't you know it?
yeah, it happens. But yeah, no, I think you're right though. The Cincinnati, Tennessee, or
And poor Hank. I won! I won! I got T.J. Watt to score the first touch. Derek Watt.
That's Derek Watt. When Nick said, "Wait," it was such a pure wait, like that only happened. You only see that in movies.
That
Wait,
reminds me of the Simpsons,
the full
The famous Simpsons episode. It was at that moment. Let me rewind the tape to the moment where you could actually see his heart breaking.
and you just yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was in the back just stunned. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Great for him. He just made like $3,000 or whatever it was. And then when I heard Nick say, wait, that's Derek Watt, the fullback. I had to ask Nick. I didn't know Derek Watt was the fullback. I had to ask Nick if he was messing with him. That was sad. But so we got
No, but then again, they rarely have defensive players on that scoring.
yeah,
That
first to score a touchdown. That prop. But so Cincinnati, Tennessee is a toss up. The
yeah,
Bills, you think the Bills are going to win for sure?
I think the Bills are going to win that game for sure.
What about what else do you have? Do you have Green Bay?
I think Green Bay is going to take apart the 49ers.
Yep. And what about the Rams?
I think that game will be a good game, but I see the Buccaneers winning.
Yeah. All right. So I feel like this past week, I think there was only one upset. Was that Dallas, San Francisco?
Yeah.
Every
The home team won 5 to 6 games,
Mhm.
and Dallas, of course, Dallas has not exactly been a good playoff performer the last 25 years. Sliding, calling for a QB sneak with no timeouts and 14 seconds left is just
you have
ridiculous.
you have to know that the 50-year-old referee is not going to run at the same speed that Dak Prescott is running at. You just
And
have
Dak Prescott today had to apologize for saying that the fans were right to throw at the referees.
yeah. Which everyone knows, like we obviously he doesn't truly mean it, but it is one of those things for a PR standpoint. You got to come out and say, "I'm sorry, I made a joke." But yeah, but it seems like this week there are a few more toss ups than there were last week.
The game I really can't believe is just how bad the Patriots look on Saturday night.
Yeah, I thought there was
Uh,
a real chance they didn't win.
Now, yeah, this I actually took the Patriots, and I thought at the very least, Bill that would be a close game, but the Bills would not stop. The only time the Bills did not score was the last series of the game when they were kneeling.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
mean,
That's football, baby. That's playoffs. Well, I'm excited for the playoff games. I will be back Saturday night, so maybe we'll go back to Hoboken and watch the Sunday games.
that
Um,
sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. We've got the blog coming out. Our upstate trip to upstate New York. I'm going to Oklahoma. We're going to work on that parlay with McCarthy. Hopefully, we'll get something going with that. And yeah, Frank.
Yep, and right now I'm watching Florida State and Duke in overtime. And Florida State has a 1 point lead with 12.3 seconds left.
And I believe when I left your apartment a few moments back to come and set up for this because I got to get ready to leave tomorrow morning, you said there was no chance that FSU would beat Duke.
Well, they have a 1 point. They have a 1 point lead, and Duke has got the ball. And defense, ball rolling. Florida State has just won. Duke got a shot. The rebound got knocked back to center court, and Florida State has won. And it looks like we got some fans, not overwhelmingly, but okay, here comes everyone storming the court.
Yeah. See, that'll happen. That'll happen in basketball. That will never happen in an FSU football game.
Yeah, no. At first it was just only like a handful, and now here comes everyone else. Yep. Final score: Florida State 79, Duke 78.
Was how high was Duke ranked?
6.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think Duke's going to drop that far. I think this is just going to get Florida State in the top 25. They look like they have a decent record. I guess they just were kept out of the top 25, maybe like one of those people. Although the rankings don't matter in college basketball that much.
And they've got quite a few freshmen. I think the team that Hamilton's put together right now could be really, really good in a year or two. Yeah,
with the win, 11-5.
Yeah.
So a good win over Duke. The important thing is that enhances their tournament resume.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, very cool. Let's leave it on a win, an FSU win. That's Barstool Units, episode 48. Frank, please take us out.
I'll see you guys next week. That's you, Barstool Units, and glory, glory, hallelujah. Darren Rovell's collection. It is second to anyone. He gets every hidden.
See you next time. Click like and subscribe. Units out.